Okay, we are back here. Welcome in. We have an exciting episode planned. Mandy, you have returned to San Diego. Great to see you back home safe and sound.
I
How are we
have
doing?
returned. I'm good. I am not in my parents' spare bedroom in Ohio anymore. My lighting is normal, so I don't look like an alien anymore. Although, if you're my husband and you love aliens and UFOs, you probably wish I looked like an alien. But no, I'm back. I'm back in business, and I had a normal weekend. Amani, I just spent the weekend putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. It was so wonderful.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what does that mean? When you say that, what does that mean?
Wait, is that not a common thing? Did I make that? I must have made that up over the years because
Yeah,
you're the third person I've said that
yeah,
to. They're like, I have no idea what we're talking about.
yeah,
Okay, so Humpty Dumpty. So you know the nursery rhyme, putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. So
yes.
I call that like when you get back from some sort of travels, like
Mm,
doing laundry, getting your act together, getting the right amount of sleep, eating healthy, reconnecting with your loved ones, whoever those may be, just kind of like organizing my life. So I just spent the whole weekend putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, and it was really nice.
okay.
I feel grounded. I'm
Hmm.
starting the week, I'm not with the seatbelt on. I'm actually like, I feel like I'm ready to go.
Okay, okay.
What about
Good.
you? What'd you do over the weekend besides celebrate the Commanders' last minute
Oh,
Hail
yes. The
Mary?
Hail Mary victory. What a glorious, glorious ending to the game. We should have been much further ahead of than we were.
Yeah.
That was probably a highlight of the weekend. Me and my friend Tina, we tried out this new Italian restaurant on Friday. On Saturday, so I ride the Peloton and I do power zone riding with the Peloton. And when you
Mhm.
do power zone riding with the Peloton, every 2 or 3 months, you have to take what's called a FTP test. It's like a functional threshold, some test where for 20 minutes, you're like booking it. And it's very difficult. So I did that on Saturday morning and I was wiped out the rest of the day because it was
Oh
really
my God.
hard. So I did that. What else did I do?
Wait, what happens if you don't pass the FTP? Like, do you get kicked out of Peloton?
No, no, you can
Are
always
you not in
pass
the
it.
club?
You're just trying to improve your score so that when you do your power zone rides, your threshold increases, so it becomes more and more difficult. So you're always pushing and you're always improving, and it gets you in even better shape because your score goes up higher.
Oh, I got it. I love
So
that.
so my
Yeah,
score went up, I think, by 5%, which is great.
that's
Right. So
great.
yeah, so it was great. So I
That's
did that
great.
Saturday. I was supposed to volunteer with Howard University, but they didn't get back to me in time, so that one got delayed. And what else did I do? That's it. It was pretty chill. It's a pretty chill weekend. Slept, got some good sleep in, except for last night. But I was probably because I was so excited because of the victory. But chill weekend.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I slept more this week. I napped. I never nap.
Oh.
We have a new piece of furniture, a new couch on the backyard.
Uh huh.
And normally
Oh.
Scoot and I cannot hang out in the backyard together because there's not enough seating. He was on a couch, I was on a couch, and the dog was laying beneath me. We had a family nap
There you go. That's
on
beautiful.
Sunday. We've never done that. That was amazing. So I'm with you on the sleep. That's great.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I did. And we'll see what this next weekend comes up. I think this next week will be busier because there's some events I have to go to. I'm DJing a birthday party. So we'll see. We'll see about this weekend. But
Okay.
as a
Yes.
segue, let's talk about our guest for today. We've been trying to get her on the show for a long time, and she's here. So tell us who it
Yes.
is.
We're so excited. We've got a great leader, a great woman today. She's a sales leader, she's a board member, she's a lifelong sales pal. She's the vice president of global sales for MGM International. We've Shelly Cruz here today.
Yes, so we'll give you a round of applause. You might not be able to hear it because we have the funny things going. But there's applause going on, so applause for you there. Love it there, love it. Welcome to the show. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
My first question would be, because you've been in Vegas for a little while now. I just moved here. So
Oh,
if they were three under the radar places that I should visit in Vegas, and they don't have to be MGM associated, just three under the
oh
radar places
yeah.
that I need to add to my list immediately, what should they be?
I mean, but
Uh,
they could be MGM.
Yes,
that's
yes.
right. Hmm. I will say you got to do Golden Steer
Mm,
off of Sahara. I
the
mean,
steak.
the steakhouse, it's incredibly hard to get into, but it is so like old school Vegas vibe that I highly recommend. And then since you are a DJ, I do think you should hit On the Record. I will do one plug for Park MGM, but that is like my age for nightclubs. Like I don't want to say for old people.
Yes.
We're not
I've been
old.
there. I love it. I've been there.
Oh
So
my
that's a good
goodness,
spot.
On the Record.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. So
Yeah.
like so my jam.
Okay.
And then, I mean, I really just hang out. Let's see. Oh, Vintner's Grill off of Charleston is a good.
Tell us about that. Vintner's Grill. Why there?
It's a little bit of a steakhouse and Mediterranean, but I like that it's a little more like you could go in with jeans and a sweater and have like a prime Bellagio dinner, like, and so super cash. But people, I feel like, know each other as soon as you walk in. Great vibe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then my follow-up question is that I'm going to list like the 3 things that surprised me the most about moving here, and I want to get your thoughts on kind of what you think. Number 1, the food here is amazing. Like I am shocked at just how good the food here is. That's number 1. Number 2 would be I've had more friends visit me here in like 10 months than I had in like 10 years in LA. It's just so confusing. And then 3 is like every hotel, major hotel has like an arena where they have to bring in these musical acts. So you can see some of the best musical acts in the world consistently because these hotels have to fill up their arenas. And so the quality in the acts that you see here is just mind blowing. So those are the 3 things that surprised me right away. What are kind of your thoughts on that?
Oh, I 100% agree. And it took us a long time because I've been here since '89. So I mean, it was McDonald's like when I moved here, so that was like it has really changed quite a bit. And I met my husband here, who's from Guam, and he introduced me to Guamanian food and barbecue. Like I've never seen ribs made 20 different ways, like in all the different like hole in the wall places for Pacific Islanders is totally opened my eyes from a Jersey girl to like eating island food. And then yes, you cannot let people stay at your house when they come to visit because you're gonna get a million requests living here. You call me, I'll send the friends and family link for MGM Resorts.
Okay, we got it.
We'll take care of it because they will never let you live it down. I never use my guest room anymore. I've turned it into an office. But yeah. I think what was surprising to me too, coming from Jersey to here, like your neighbors don't really talk to each other. Like, and then me as a salesperson, I was out there talking to neighbors. I know everybody now. Best way to like get in front of them is food. Like I send crumble cookies to all the new people that move into the neighborhood, and then I'm like, hi, like like they'll talk to you when you come out. But that was so weird to me when I moved here that the neighbors didn't talk to each other the way they do back then.
They don't. I noticed that too. So I got to figure, I might have to borrow. That's another good mention. Crumble cookies once a month on a Sunday or a Monday. I'll sneak down the street next to Durango and get me some crumble. Ooh, my goodness. Yes. So, okay. So that's thank you for that. We'll continue because you did mention something in there about meeting your husband here that I'm curious about. We'll come back to that one.
Okay.
You'll notice Mandy and I, we do a little bit of tennis. So now the ball's in Mandy's court. So I'll let her kind of ask her first questions in the Wayback Machine.
Shelly, thank you so much for being here. It's so great to see you and have you on the show. You have such a storied sales career, and I want to ask about, obviously you're a sales leader right now and a leader of women in our industry, but also a leader of salespeople for MGM International. But I want to go back. I do want to go back to the Wayback Machine. Like, when was it in your career that you thought, all right, I got this sales jam? Or was there ever a moment where you're like, I can't do this anymore? Like where was a turning point for you, or where was a moment where you held on, you stayed instead of evacuated?
I love that word.
Right? Me too.
No, that's a great question. And I've been with our company for 22 years. And so, and I've actually worked at 5 different properties. And I think that's whenever I felt a little bit too comfortable or I felt really good is when I would start raising my hand and getting in front of people of, I want to move on. I want to do something else. I want to, even if it's a lateral to go to another property, I want an experience of going to another property, because our properties are like small towns. Like some of them have 8,000 employees. And so it really is getting to know all those people in the building. And I want something different. And I have to say, in my career where I had that like really itchy feeling was when I was at Bellagio for 9 years, and there was no movement happening. And I kept saying to my leader at the time, I've got to do something else. Like, I don't know where it is, but inside the company, I want to do something else. And he looked at me like I was high as a kite. He was like, you are leading the Bellagio sales team and you want to go somewhere else? And I was like, I'm bored. Like, I want to do something different. Like, and so he definitely gave me something different. He moved me to Mandarin Oriental, and I was like blown away because I had to do sales, marketing, services, catering, everything. And so he was like, I was freaked out at the beginning because it was such a small property. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to Bellagio to this. Like, and he was like, you don't even understand what hospitality is until you get into like a 5-diamond, 5-star property. And so, and try to wear all the hats, Shelly. And I was like, he was so right. It was incredible. And we owned the Mandarin at the time. So I was still part of MGM Resorts, the family. And then we sold it and I moved back over to Aria. But yeah, that was probably where people looked at me like I was crazy for wanting to leave Bellagio. And I loved it. I loved the people, the team. It was just time to move on because I want to keep myself continuing to grow. Like, I feel like so important.
I love that. And I love that you knew, like, even though on paper, you're like, I'm at the pinnacle, but your gut instinct told you that you could do more and that more was waiting for you. And you raised your hand and spoke up. I think a lot of times, like a lot of people in our audience or a lot of people that might be listening to this, they might think, well, I've got the best job. Like, be grateful for that and just do that forever. But sure, yes, and listen to yourself. And if you want to go somewhere, give it a shot. So I knew you're at Mandarin Oriental, but since you brought it up, I got to ask, from a service perspective, what is a service story, a service delivery story of something unique you did there, or just something that pops out of your head that you're like, I don't know if I've ever done this before. This is fascinating.
While you're thinking of the service story, I got to shout out Mai Lim, who's in the chat. She says hello. So what's up,
Hi,
Mai?
Mai.
Yes. Okay. Now you can talk about a service story. So yes.
You know what's funny is when I got there too, I was a little cocky. I was like, I'm coming from Bellagio, and that's like the king of the world for service. And the GM at the time, Cliff Atkinson, who's in the city as well, he's the GM at Virgin now, but he looked at me and just started laughing, and he was like, "Oh, you're so cute! Like, you have no idea what service is like until you like go to the Mandarin in Hong Kong. That's where there's 3 employees to every guest, you know." And I was like, "What?" You know, and so it was really eye-opening to me on the level of service could go even higher than Bellagio, and it's because it was such a small hotel and so curated and intentional. Like, they had the resources to be able to do it because I feel like of the size and like the smaller scale. But it was a great learning experience for me. I think one of the funniest like service stories was we had a prince coming over from overseas, and the sales manager was looking up camels and how to get a camel to the hotel.
Oh, wow.
he had this like interest in certain camels, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm gonna have a camel in the top drive when he gets here." And I was like, "What?" Like, we did it. Like, that's what we did for that wow moment. But and we have those same capabilities at MGM Resorts too. Thank goodness we have an amazing CEO that, and he calls it the culture of yes. So we are able to do cool things here at our properties as well. But yeah, that was probably my learning moment of this is different.
That's good. Oh, I love that exposure to all those different brands and service levels. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. So, and I think, Manny, it's not you. We had a little bit of feedback there, but we'll figure that out as we go through the interview. So just check your settings there. I'm curious, You're a board member of Tourism Diversity Matters. You're an advisory board member of PCMA, and you're also the board for Women Leading Travel and Hospitality. Why these three organizations, and how do you balance being on the board of all three and your full-time job and your personal job life?
I have a problem saying no to things, for sure. Yeah, no, tourism diversity matters was probably the most important to me. And there was a colleague who's in our industry as well, Austin Bagwell. She works for Fountain Blue, but she introduced me to them during COVID. And because our company really embraces DE&I, and not just in the conventions that we book, but also with our employees. It's a pillar of ours. There's a Focused on What Matters campaign that lives out there. And it just aligned with everything that, like, the fiber in my being too, and how important it was to be a part of an organization that truly cares about it in the industry. And I wasn't alone. There's so many different organizations a part of Tourism Diversity Matters, and we all get together to really talk about what's happening in the world, how can we help. And it's not just writing a check. It is, talking and helping support each other. So that one's probably my favorite out of the three. And then Women Leading, of course, supporting women and all over the industry. And it's not just hoteliers and sales or suppliers. It's all different organizations. So it could be somebody from an airline. It could be somebody from Uber. It could be somebody that's a chef. It's all different lines of work of women supporting other women. And I really love that too.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you real quickly. Let's try to fix your microphone there. See if you can select it, because it's sounding a little staticky. Let's see if you can select it again, or pick a different one and then pick another one. Let's see if we turn it on and turn it off will help, just so we can make sure people are hearing these good answers that you're giving to us. So yes, we also see Robert Downs Photography in the chat. So welcome in, Robert. I saw your question. We'll get to that.
Hey, Robert. This is what I love about live interviews is that, we roll with the flow. We do what we got to do. Remember a couple weeks ago, my camera was flashing all crazy.
Your camera was flashing. Yes.
Part of live, man. This is great.
Yes. So maybe we'll get Shelly. Hopefully she'll come back in and out as we work through our microphone issues. We'll put a note there, like maybe exit and come back. Try to exit and come back. So yeah, hold on. Try to exit and then come back in. See if that's yes, because now your picture is frozen, but your mic sounds better.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, your mic sounds good. Yeah, jump out, jump back in.
Yes. So we'll do that there. Okay, so that's okay. So now we see now we see you a different camera. So that's good, and you sound good. Okay, so that's much better. Thank you for doing that on the fly.
This is great. That's great.
So then, you talked to us about Tourism Diversity Matters, and now I think you were talking about women leading travel and hospitality. So tell us more about that and how you balance. And then you're talking about how you balance all the things.
Yeah. So women leading what's cool about women leading is not just hoteliers and suppliers. Like, it's several different companies. So it could be airline companies, Uber, chefs, all different aspects of hospitality, and we all kind of come together and support each other. And so, and that's a relatively new organization too. They've only been around a few years, but they are in the thousands already. So I feel that it's really impactful in what they do. And I've been a big supporter since day one. So I was lucky enough to get on the advisory board this year. And then PCMA, I love the education for PCMA. They just come in strong. They have Brene Brown that's going to be their keynote speaker this year. And if you don't know her, her books are so great. And she talks about being vulnerable as a leader. And what do you do on the days that you don't have confidence, right? And I feel like she really speaks about reality, which is awesome. But I highly recommend, and I tell my team too, to And they'll joke, they'll say I make it mandatory. I don't really, but they have to.
I don't, but I do, but I don't, but I do.
Yeah, exactly. But they really need to give back as thought leaders. So if it means being on a board or a committee, but I also tell them it doesn't have to be an industry board. I have somebody that's on a breast cancer research board. I mean, that to me is just as important and giving back to the community as a leader. And so, yes, I think it's so important to stay involved.
Okay, good.
And I think
Also,
for people,
we had a question from the audience, and
let's hear it.
we'll ask that question. I have two. I'll ask mine first, and then David, I'll ask yours second. So my question is, and thank you for the questions, both of you. As one of the most outstanding leaders in the hospitality industry, what is your advice for those who are establishing their careers, those who are young in their careers, if they want to follow in your footsteps? I'm adding words to your question, Maya, because I think that's what you mean.
It is actually some advice I received as I was a sales manager way back in the day, which was, and I kind of just talked a little bit about it, but and Maya, you're already really good at this, about getting involved in organizations and standing out and building your brand. But somebody said, show up when you're not expected. And that resonated with me quite a bit. So yes, we're expected to show up at, IMAX and things like that, but show up in different divisions for different committees. I've shown up for things for the casino side or the sports marketing side, and just trying to really understand all aspects of the entire company, not just my own wheelhouse, to continue my growth and to get my name out there. And leaders take notice when they see that you show up when you're not expected.
That's good. So, I know that Maya is ending her presidency at MPI Southern California. I'm a past president at MPI Southern California.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so Maya's got, I think, 2 months left. I know she's not counting down. She's loving it every day. So, yeah, so that makes it, but that's good example of show up where you're not expected. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Robert Downs has a question here. He says, what do you do when all your dreams come true, both in life and in work, and you still have so much time left?
Ooh. I mean, I just love to travel so much. I want to travel the world, and people that know me know I'm a serial dog adopter, that I rescue dogs as much as I can. And so I think if I had reached all my dreams, that would be my dream, to get a house with a very large backyard and rescue as many dogs as I possibly could. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we like that. Okay, Mandy, thank you for your patience. Over to you.
That's okay. That's okay.
The modern Shelly show.
No, it is. That's okay. Well, we got great questions. Okay. This is not on my list, but I want to ask, what kind of dog do you have? Dogs right now? What kind of dogs do you have?
I do. Oh my gosh, I have 4. I have a small pack.
Okay.
I have 3 rescue dogs, and I do have 1 designer dog. The designer dog is a mini Australian Shepherd, and he herds my other dogs. But I have 3 little mutts.
Nice.
And anyone can follow me on my Instagram. I love to post their photos on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Dog people are special people. I was never a dog person until recently, and now I'm a creepy dog mom. So I've got like a special place in my heart for dog people. So I'll have to check that out on your Instagram for sure. Okay, back to business. So I have a question about sales. So what is the state of sales? Like if you were to say what's the state, and you could go hospitality sales or just sales in general, like what's the state of sales, what's broken and what's working?
Oh gosh. I think that people are, sales is obviously doing really well for everybody right now, I feel like. But what we're seeing a shift in is clients are really wanting an experience versus just us verbally vomiting. We joke about it about all our features and benefits. It's about I want to feel the whole experience. And so I feel like we try to do that in our in-market events, and it helps build the relationship when you're doing. I was just at a PCMA summit event where I was swimming down a river in the middle of a jungle, and I was talking to a client while we're swimming down the river, and we will forever have that moment together. We were scared, and having fun at the same time, but forever bonded. Everywhere we went after that, we would see each other and be like, can you believe we did that? You know, and so I really think that that's the way things are headed. People are not interested in the typical sales calls anymore. They want to come out and have an experience with you. It might be just dinner, but it might be something like swimming in the jungle. I think that's where it's headed. It's not the norm. It's been disrupted, but I think for the better.
I agree. Okay, now what's broken?
Ooh, what's broken? I think using technology in the wrong ways. I've seen this. I love AI and what it can do for us, but when I see sales managers talking about customers responding in AI and not tweaking it, like they just cut and paste the AI answer into the email. And I've had sales managers say to me, how do I respond to this? I'm talking to a robot right now. Like, I don't know. I don't think they know how to use AI. And I'm like, you got to pick up the phone. You got to call them and see if they'll talk to you, because that cracks me up when we see these emails come through that you can tell are just full AI. And it's like, holy cow, like that's not the way we should be using it.
It's so funny you say that, because I am on the receiving end of a lot of that. And I will respond back. Did you use AI to write this for you? Because I want to do, for me, it's a growth opportunity, right? Like I feel like, and I'm not accusing somebody. I just want them to know, like, use AI to create your baseline, but then tweak it in your own voice. You're still saving time by using AI, but I'm so with you. Like whenever I get a subject line that's like, unleash this, or I'm like, okay, you wrote that with AI. I know you did, which is fine. Like, I'm glad you're using that, but you're right. Like some of these robotic responses, they need a little help. So yeah, I'm with you. Using technology is in the right way is such a great thing. And it's a solvable problem. It's not like you're saying something that's broken that isn't solvable. That's a total solvable problem. Okay, one other question, and then Amani, I promise I'll pass the baton. So you're a great sales leader. You interact with sales leaders all the time. What is something that you think sales leaders could do better? Like what's a miss that you think sales leaders are doing right now? What's something you think sales leaders could do better? Or maybe it's something you missed early on that you self-corrected over time as a leader.
Yeah, I think, and I actually just had lunch with one of our presidents who said something very similar, that sometimes when we work for the same company for so long, we start to become, we're in this bubble, and we think that everything that we're doing is the right way or the right thing, and we forget there's a whole different world out there. And she makes a point of really projecting herself out there and doing uncomfortable things and getting her brand out there, but talking to other people in different industries, different hoteliers, find out how other people do things. And I think sometimes, I don't think it's anyone's fault, but sometimes we get so crazy busy that like the last thing we feel like doing when we go home is to learn about something else, right? So it does take a sacrifice of time and discipline to make that happen. But I'll tell you what, the benefits on the flip side are tenfold. So when I go into a networking reception, I feel better knowing about what's happening in the world. And it doesn't have to be about politics and things like that. Just knowing what's happening in industries, economy, things like that help me in those conversations. And I feel stronger. I feel much stronger going into a group of men too, who think they might not think I know everything that's happening on Wall Street or what's going on, but I do. And so I think it has helped me quite a bit in my career in those conversations. Yeah.
I love that. And then all of a sudden you're the one bringing the value to the table. You know, you're like, oh, I'm more than just MGM Resorts. I rescue dogs. I bring crumble cookies. No, but like I it's more than that. But I like you bringing the value to the conversation. That's memorable. I love that.
Yeah, cool. Reminds me of the phrase, "What you do is not who you are."
That's true. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. I attribute that to Les Brown. I give Les Brown credit for that, but I've heard it from him and other people. So we'll ride with that. Since you're talking about your team, tell us, why does it fill you up so much when you're able to help someone find their dream job?
Oh my gosh, that's like my favorite question. Like like I love that because there's nothing that makes me happier finding somebody their dream job. And I meet with a lot of sales managers in our company, and that's one of the first questions I ask is, you could do anything in the world, money didn't matter, what would it be? And sometimes it's not what they're doing.
Right.
So it's really and I love connecting people. And so when I hear, oh gosh, you're more interested in finance, like I know 20 people over there that you could talk to. Do you want to talk to them? And just being able to connect them with different people makes me so happy, because I feel like everybody's got a good story on how they got to where they're at, and then also what their future looks like. And it's amazing just asking that one question, what's your story, is sometimes how I start off my lunches, and you'd be surprised what comes out of people's mouths. Yeah.
You will be. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. So shout out Keandra Jackson in the audience. So thank you for tuning in, a past guest. Okay, well then, Shelly, how about for you? If you could do anything in the world, not have to worry about money or status or cachet, what's your dream job? Since you left it there for us, what's the low hanging fruit there?
Go back and forth.
What is the? And I'll share with you mine. After you answer. But yes.
Yeah, I'm addicted to interior design. Like I absolutely love it. I've redone majority of my house with my husband. I design it and he does it for me. And I fell in love with like the Nomad library at Park MGM and had him rebuild me a library in my house that kind of matched the aesthetic of that library. And I love books so much. But yeah, I think I would do that if it was an alternate world, and then rescue dogs, of course. Like I would have the massive backyard with 1 million dogs. Yeah.
Okay, we like that. We like that. My job would be, and you can relate to this. Maybe growing up in New Jersey, at nighttime there was a radio show on. It was like The Quiet Storm, love songs and dedications. A lot of people think of Delilah and how Delilah did it, but I'm sure at East Coast, and you would call it. I'd be the DJ. I'd play the love songs appropriate to what you were going through. That'd be mine.
Yeah.
Mandy, what about you?
I love that.
Well, first, I have to say, I love the Nomad Library, by the way. So I feel like I would love your house. It's one of my favorite. Well, Park MGM is my favorite hotel in Vegas, but I love the Nomad Library. I think I always drag people there and they're like, Mandy, where are we going? And as soon as we get there, everyone's like, thank you. Yeah, I love the Nomad Library. What would I be doing? I mean, I feel like I'm already doing it. I'm writing books.
Okay.
I would just write books and ride my bike. Books and bikes. Books.
That's good. That works. That's a good book.
Bikes. Yeah, more books, more writing books and more bike riding. That'd be it.
So you're like 75% of the way there then. So you're on your way.
That's the goal.
Another shout out to an audience participant. We got lots of audience participants there. We love it. Mercedes Montijo. I hope I said that right. She has a question for you, Shelly. She says, what is one key attribute you look for in a potential employee?
Ooh. Gosh, I look for, attitude is always number one. You can tell somebody's attitude usually in an interview pretty quickly on how flexible they are with wanting to learn and grow. And I've hired people that know nothing about convention sales, and they still come in and thrive, because that's really something I can't train, is attitude. But I also, a weird question I ask is, what are you reading? And I get a lot of head tilts on, and it could be anything. It could be a blog, it could be a newsletter, it could be a book, a magazine, whatever it is. It doesn't matter as long as you're reading. I feel like knowledge is power, and we have to keep reading as we move on through our lives to continue to grow.
So I'm going to ask that question later about what are you reading. Well, should I ask it now, Mandy? Because I have so many. We have to flip the script first. We'll flip the script first.
Amani, take the reins. Whatever you ask. We're there.
Okay, I'll ask you now. We're here. That's right. We've gotten to the doorstep. So if you're going to recommend 3 of your favorite books that you think people should stop what they're doing right now and start to read them immediately, what 3 books come to mind?
Is this for me? I'm ready.
Yes, for you.
Okay.
3 books for you.
I thought you were asking Mandy. Okay. I would say everything I learned in kindergarten, which is Robert Fulghum. He's an author. that was his number one book years ago. But if you really think about it, everything like be kind, share, right? Like be creative. But it's a book of short stories that are absolutely hilarious. And I've carried those notions with me throughout my life. Unreasonable Hospitality by Will Guidara. My team,
yes.
I gave this to my team for Christmas last year, and I absolutely love that book. And it's just the camel story at Mandarin Oriental. It's about doing things like that. Brene Brown, gosh, I'm forgetting the name of hers, but anything she writes is unbelievable.
Yeah. I think hers was like Atlas of the Heart or something, but yeah.
Yeah. And then also, I don't just read leadership books and things like that. I read stuff that's fun, but all the girls in the office made me read It Ends With Us. So I had to read that before I could watch the movie. Because I always tell them, you have to read. They're like, well, you have to read it before you watch it.
Yes, Blake Lively's in that movie. Blake Lively,
the book is always better. The book was better.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I want to hang here though, while we're talking about reading and aspirations. I want to ask you, because you've been a really great advocate for this, and I believe more people in our industry should talk about this, about mental health, mental wellness, and business. So we're going to talk about it. Like, what do you do to keep yourself grounded? It sounds like you read and you pet a bunch of puppies and interior design. But what do you recommend? Because sales is high beta, low beta. We're winning, we're losing. It's so easy to get lost in this shuffle, the stressful shuffle of it. Like, what do you recommend salespeople can do to work on their whole sales self, their whole mental wellness? And then I want to talk about how you feel we as an industry address mental wellness and mental health.
Yeah. I don't think we do a good job of it out there, to be honest.
I agree.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason I've stayed with this company, is because I feel like they've really shifted and tried to have us focus on our families. We rolled out sabbaticals a couple of years ago, where we take up to 6 weeks off paid. You turn the reins over to somebody else on your team and you shut down. And I'll tell you what, my brain did amazing things during those 6 weeks. And so I've pushed our HR team to go out and do speaking engagements about sabbaticals and what they can do for you and your team. And it's amazing. The company's not going to feel like, oh, we don't need that person while you're gone. Like you literally blink and my person is back from sabbatical already. I'm like, holy cow, that was so fast. But for me too, and my team, I'm always asking, when are you going on vacation? What's going on? And I plug in my vacations pretty far out in advance so that I have something to look forward to. And I feel like we work hard and we play hard. So if I'm going to hustle and do a 60, 70-hour week, that I have a vacation on the back end, which I definitely just put in vacation after F1. I know I can make it through those 3 nights, and knowing that there's vacation on the back end. But I highly recommend that, because it does help I feel like your mental state for sure. Yeah.
Good.
That's good. That's important.
Melinda Mintz, who's in the audience there. She also mentioned Dare to Lead. I think that's the Brene Brown book, but that's another one.
Yes, that's a great one. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Now we're actually going to flip the script. We're going to allow you to ask both myself and Mandy any question you want. Nothing is out of bounds. So who do you want to ask the question to first, and what is said question?
I'd love to ask Mandy a question first.
Go ahead.
On your book, Sales Tales, which I'm almost done. I haven't finished it yet.
Yay. Thanks for getting it. Thanks for reading it.
We have joked for 100 years in our offices that we wish we could write books, but we can't, obviously, for confidentiality reasons. And I wondered how you felt. Like, is there so many more stories that you have that you just can't tell because of the people involved? Or like, we were laughing. We were like, how did she choose like which one she was going to talk about?
Good question.
I mean, there's got to be so many juicy ones left. Like, are you going to make another one? Yeah.
Yes. So I will always write books. So yes, there's many more books to come. But it's funny that you should say that, because there are a lot of stories that didn't make the book. But there are some stories in the book that the lawyers advised me to change the gender of the person
okay.
and modify a little bit of the story. So I didn't lie. I told the truth, but like instead of 2 years ago, it might have been 12 years ago, or instead of a boy, it might have been a girl. So
Yeah.
there's things that the publisher and the lawyers taught me to do that you can still tell a true story and still get the message across, but there's just a couple things about it that are not as accurate as they were. So there are some things in there that are juicy. I have had some people reach out to me and say, "Is this really about so and so?" And I said, "I cannot confirm or deny." But you have a great intuition. So yeah, I have tons of stories that I'll keep telling over and over, and I'll find it's kind of like I remember, did you see Private Parts, the movie with Howard Stern, when
Oh, yeah.
they kept correcting him on how to do certain things, but then he always found a creative way to figure it out and still get it in. Like I will still always find a creative way to figure it out and still get it in, because these stories, hospitality, it's a 24-hour operation. So there's so many stories to tell. And I people need
Keep
to hear the
writing.
stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great question.
Great question.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
On
Amani, like
Yes.
DJing. We talked about my son is a DJ too. Like what would be your best advice to him? He's a DJ at some pools here in Vegas. But he loves to make his own music, and which is not always the genre of music that wants to be played at the pools. But what advice might you have for somebody that's creative, that creative side of the brain? Like, I don't know, like how he could be successful. Yeah.
So if he's starting to build up his own catalog of like his own music that he's made, try to figure out a night here in Vegas where he can kind of make it his own. Like maybe it's once a month at a certain hotel where he can be playing in a lounge, or maybe that trap music at the lounge might not work. But if there's an open spot where he could like play the music that he loves to play, and he tries to build his own night either every month or whatever, try to work that. And then also maybe collaborate with other DJs that are local that like his same style of music he's doing, so he can share his tracks with them. And then maybe they can invite him to be a guest DJ where he's playing, where he can play for an hour his music. And then also there's a couple DJ record pools that are based here in Vegas where he could get to know the people there, where then when they are sending out all the exclusive edits to all the DJs worldwide, he could be maybe one of the persons who sends them like the trap music edits or his own music through there. So that would help him network only with DJs here, but also get to be known worldwide. So those would be three kind of ways I would advise him on how to kind of get his name out there in the genre of music that he loves, and also be able to play it locally too. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I got more. So, we can always talk offline about that, but that's good. Okay. Awesome.
And I have to ask Mandy one more question. Do you have
a
favorite global salesperson on my team?
Oh, Holly Smith.
We love Holly. We love Holly.
We love Holly. We love
Holly.
I will say, I'm going to take my podcast host, author, coach hat off for a second and put my HPN hat on. MGM Resorts Worldwide as a whole, they do a great job. Like product to product, person to person. Obviously, we love Holly, but the sales experience is always really good. So you're doing something right over there, and I'm saying that as a buyer. And I'm always vocal if I don't feel that. So, but you guys do a really good job over there. And speaking of that, you made a big announcement on LinkedIn a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I wondered if for people that aren't following you yet, Shelly Cruz, follow her. But if they're not following you yet, if you can reshare that big announcement of the new hotel that's coming to Vegas. That's a part of your collection.
And right on cue, Holly Smith is in the chat, and she says she loves all of you. So just wanted to say that. Then on to the big announcement. Yes.
Oh. Yeah, we just made a huge announcement with, as everyone knows, we have a partnership with Marriott on the loyalty side. And so meaning you will get points when you come to any of our properties. On the group side, that is not quite live yet. It's going to happen any day now. But group attendees will also be able to get Bonvoy points when they stay at our properties. We are still owned and managed by MGM Resorts. We always will be. So I think there's a lot of confusion out there about that. But it's been nothing but amazing for us in this last year. And we couldn't be happier. And so because that's done so well, we've decided to move forward with changing the flag at Delano to a W hotel, which also equates to transforming the entire building to be a W, which will be completed around the end of 2026, early 27. But they'll start changing the branding as of early as of December of this year. So we couldn't be more excited about it. Still owned and managed by MGM Resorts. So all your favorite employees will still be there. Our sales team, MGM, will sell it with the Marriott GSOs will also sell it too. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
We've needed a W on the Strip for a while. That's really exciting.
Exciting, yeah.
Sexy and cool, yeah.
Oh, I drive past the Delano many times going up the 15 or whatever it is, or Frank Sinatra Boulevard. Now, we've come to the point in the show where I'm going to ask you if you could go back to when you were just graduating from UNLV, and give that version of Shelly advice based on everything you know now. What advice would you give your younger self right as you're graduating from college?
Well, first of all, I can't claim that I graduated. I did not.
Okay. We're close, though. You could always go back.
Brene Brown.
You're like, Shelly, tell the truth. And I did 4.5 years.
Brene Brown would celebrate your vulnerability. Yeah.
Right. But yes, I went to school for marketing though, to be going to advertising, and I was gung-ho going to do that. And I'm glad that I listened to myself, that I didn't have to do that just because I was headed in that direction. And somebody saw me in retail sales and said, you should really sell hotels. I thought they meant real estate. I was like, what are you talking about? And they said, no, like sell hotel rooms. And so I kind of did a head tilt and was like, okay. And then when I checked it out, I worked as a coordinator and I fell in love with the industry very quickly with convention sales. And so I tell younger generations all the time, I speak to different hospitality schools. It's okay to change your mind on your career, on your degree. It's okay. Follow your heart, follow your gut instincts, and do what makes you happy, because I think I'm a lot happier in sales, even though the marketing team looks super fun and I drive them up a wall with my creative ideas. But at the end of the day, I feel like sales is where I'm supposed to be. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you for answering. Mandy, over to you to close us out.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I want to comment. I think being creative in sales is also super underutilized. So I think like so many people think they want to go into marketing, but really they just want to be a creative salesperson. So I think it's really beneficial for your team that they've got a creative leader like you, because it is something we don't make enough time for. We don't even know is in us until somebody like you brings that out of them. So I think that's great. And driving people crazy with creativity, if that's the worst thing you've ever done, that's a good, bad thing. It's a good, bad thing. Okay. I want to ask, you've given us time today, which we really appreciate. And you've given so much to the world around you in hospitality sales. What can we do to support you? What can we do to lift you up? How can we support, the women leading travel and hospitality, or the various boards around, or your team? Like, how can we support you?
Oh gosh. I think just keep connecting people the way you do, Mandy, and introducing people to other people, because I tell sales managers all the time, I mean, every time you get that lead from somebody, they know somebody else that knows somebody else at a different company too. And you just have to ask that question. Who do you know? And can you introduce me to this person? I don't think we ask that often enough. And I think we should all do that for each other, is connect people and introduce people to each other. Holly Smith is really good at it too. I know she's listening, but
Yes.
we always joke here in the office, Holly knows somebody somewhere. And
Truth.
so I love that. And I think that's supporting each other on all of our companies and industries.
Got it. You have our commitment. We will connect you to everybody we know in and out of the industry. We got it. We got
We
it.
will.
Oh, I do have one final question. What's your favorite? You buy crumble cookies for people. What's your favorite crumble cookie?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm old school. I like the chocolate chip with the salted cakes.
Oh,
Ooh,
Yeah, right?
yummy.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
oh, I'm going to head there right now. 3 miles away. I'm going to go. Let's
Right?
go.
It's delivered to the house in 20 minutes. Like, it's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
dangerous. So dangerous.
Which my last neighbor I sent him to was a highway patrolman across the street, and we're tight now. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, that can come in handy. That can come in handy.
Needs to know who needs
Yeah.
Holly when you've got a highway patrol person friend. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to be with us and sharing so much wisdom and advice and information. And we just are so happy. And we're going to talk and make sure we meet in person very soon, because we're neighbors. And just continue to be an advocate and an example in the industry. And we thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing an amazing job.
Cool.
Thank
Okay, we're going to put you back in the green
Thanks
room real
for
quick.
being here.
Yes, thank you. Round of applause again for Shelly. There we go. Okay, Mandy, another great show. What and who do we have to look forward to next week?
My cheeks ache from laughing, Mommy. That was
That's
so
good.
fun. That was
Lots
so
of fun.
fun. That was great.
Yes.
Okay. So next week, well, we have 2 surprises. Next week,
Okay.
I will not be here. So we have a guest host, a repeat guest host, Tim Mulligan.
Yes, he's coming back.
Who is a great interviewer, but he also has a new graphic novel that just came out, and he's got a new play that's going back to New York next year. So
Cool.
not only do you have a great guest next week, but you've got a great co-host. And then our guest next week is Kristen Iverson, who was also one of the smart meeting trailblazers like you and I were. So you guys will have a lot in common. She runs Crow Practice. She's very big on mental wellness in business and really talking about the stuff that we're not talking about. And so I'm kind of bummed I won't be here, because I really wanted to chat with her, but I'll have to listen in the afters.
Yes, well, we'll miss you. We'll definitely ask all your questions. And awesome. So can't wait. We'll see Tim next week. For those of you still watching the recording or listening, make sure you rate, review, and subscribe on the platform that you love to use. Share this with a friend. And with that, we will see everyone next week. Thanks again to our guests, Shelly Cruz. And until next time, take care, everyone.
Until next time, Nanu Nanu. Bye.